Not yet.
Well, welcome, 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 welcome. We gotta watch our ads, dude. Ding, that's gotta be live. It's gotta be telling you something's happening. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Get started here with a little high school football.
Wait. We're not on yet. You on?
I don't think we're on. Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
We got some awesome guests coming up, guys. I'm kind of excited about it. Take care of some business this week. We'll get to that. And then we got a little bit of time in between then and our WCAC meet of our schedule.
There we go.
Let's see here.
Oh, I had it queued up. Dang it. Come on. Come on, man.
We're trying to get this Nationals game. I know everyone's watching the Nats because we are too. Down 2-0.
All right. Yep.
Here we go.
We're good.
All right. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
And they asked me to get on the mic.
I had to do it. I had to do it. I want people to hear Tribe Called Quest, not Ken Marangolo. Thank you so much for joining us on yet another Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
Man, it was an exciting weekend, T. It's great to have you back. It's great to be back live in season on Tuesdays from the basement, talking our thing to WCAC football.
He's Tim Strachan.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was bringing the family back from Disney. We had a great time. You guys did an awesome job. Great game. Just glad we're back into the swing of football again. Get to talk about football, and I'll be there this Saturday. Looking forward to another great game.
It was a great game, and it will be another great game. We'll have a season full of great games. We are, I don't know, man. I'm just excited that football season has started, and high school football in this area is at enough of a level where it's football. The football season started. I know people around here want to key on Redskins. Some people want to key on Terps. If you had a chance to watch on Saturday, St. John's College High School, Fernandez Stadium, Smith Field, St. John's Cadets took on the Southridge Spartans, and it wasn't close. 48-0 final score. St. John's. We'll talk about a lot of things that happened. I want to tip my hat to the Southridge Spartans, their whole administration, program coaches, kids. They were a good-looking group of football players. They, handled themselves well till the end. I mean, again, we had a running clock in the second half, T, for the most part. I think they'll be thankful for that to some degree, but at the same time, there was a lot of kids making plays, at the best of their abilities all the way to the end of the fourth quarter on Southridge side. So, again, thank you for making that trip up. The principal, the AD, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if the principal was there. We saw the AD.
No. George Vital was there.
Yep.
He was a great dude. Sent us an awesome email. What a good guy to deal with. One of the good guys at high school athletics. That was awesome.
We will be watching those guys. Jalen Willis, Jaheim Jerry, George Young, a couple of these guys who kind of impressed. I think a lot of Saturdays they're going
Roscoe Parrish impressed me.
Roscoe Parrish, absolutely. Rashad Napper, whose name I shall never forget. And we'll get to that, I'm sure, at some point as well. But Southridge is going to compete in Florida in the 5A level. I think we know that. We saw Deerfield, another team from down there, struggle this past weekend. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up game. But I thought a good place to start would be to kind of sandwich our St. John Southridge live broadcast. I know, sandwich. I know. I promise I wouldn't do that to you. Let's get to the Deerfield game, but let's bridge the gap with a little DeMatha talk, T.
Yeah.
DeMatha was on ESPN.
I don't.
It was great.
I don't want them to play on ESPN ever again.
Is this me?
Because it feels like every time they play on ESPN, or most times they play on ESPN, it falls short. It's usually one of the first games of the season. Those games are, Kevin, you've been a coach before. They're the kiss of death because you just don't know what what shape your team is in until you get out there in live action. And I think Bill McGregor, it was bittersweet for him. It was great to be back on the sidelines and to be leading this program again, but bitter because they took it on the chin. They really did. And
Well, before we talk about them taking on the Chin T, let's have some mad respect for yet another WCAC team who takes all comers.
Oh, yeah.
They play a very, very amazing program.
It's hard to fly across country in the NFL
Yep,
and
it
win
sure
a football
is.
game. The odds makers always have that as like at least a 3 or 5 point swing when you're going from one coast to the other. It's not easy to do, and they
Nope.
did it on what, Thursday. So, yeah, no, that's tough, you know.
Yep.
Hey, DeMatha played hard. You know, they made some great plays. I think that there's some things that they got to work on, and Bill will get them straight. And look, last year they lost to St. Thomas Aquinas 35-0
Yeah.
in the first game.
And they made it to the WCAC
in a
championship.
stage like that, and they ended up in the championship game. So I'm not worried about it at all. It was a
No.
tough weekend for them.
I would have liked to have seen them take a little bit more advantage of the erratic play of the 10-star quarterback from California.
Yui Ungalale.
Ungalale.
I was looking
He
forward to
was
seeing
crazy.
him, you know, and look, he looks the part without a doubt. I mean, he looks like a man-child on a football field. And he was off, you know.
Yep.
Again, I think that maybe his first game of the season type stuff. And, you know, number one quarterback in the nation, you would think kind of get it under control going to Clemson. I
did.
think he will.
Well-
I think he'll be a lot different going forward and getting some of those jitters out.
Guys with rocket launcher arms
Oh,
tend
my
to
God.
tend to throw a little high on ESPN in the first game of their senior season.
He
you
was
know,
he was a little hyped.
I get that.
I think they all were.
Exactly.
You know, they all
exactly.
were. That's-
But at 6'5", when he tucked the ball and ran, which he doesn't have to do ever, but
Right.
he
What
has
are we
the
talking?
ability
We're
to do
talking
it anytime.
15 to 18-year-old kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, we say that all the time. You can never, ever predict what's going to happen
No.
with a 15 to 18-year-old, especially when you get about 100 of them on the sidelines and you got 11 on the field at one time. You know, DeMatha came out and absolutely pounded their workhorse. Marshawn Lloyd,
Number 2.
he filled up every bit of all 5 of those stars. And,
Absolutely.
Yep.
And he's a special talent. No
So
doubt
did
about
Keziah
it.
Izzard, you know, made a couple great plays on the edge, and you know other guys too. But hey, you know, you go out there, you play the game, you see how it happens. Bill's going to bring them back, show them the things they did right, show them the things they did wrong, probably twice, and then work on them. And they're going to be fine going forward.
Their team speed out there at St. John Bosco
That was evident.
Was absolutely ridiculous. And
Hudson.
I think
Yeah.
that certainly affected not only the receivers that were running around like maniacs out there, but their defensive backfield. They made it tough on Malachi Anthony in his first start on the national stage against arguably in some polls the number 1 team in the nation. So you know they're going to need
I'm
more.
not
They're going
saying
to need more
DeMatha
than
doesn't have team speed, but they did
Right.
not have Bosco team speed.
No.
Bosco
I don't know.
was
I don't
hopefully
know.
they were on another level than other teams. And
That number 2, Hudson, is.
oh my
is,
God, going to Oregon.
He is all of it. He's
Yeah.
fun. He's gonna be fun to watch. I hope he goes somewhere I can root for him, and not somewhere I can root against him. I have no problem rooting for him at Oregon, but he has Sunday moves.
He's little.
Yeah, I know. We'll see if he lasts and what happens. But I mean, he wouldn't.
He was
be
fun to watch
tackled
Saturday night.
in a 2-hand touch game. He wouldn't be down, you know, on a lot of plays. Which
No, I'm not playing tag with him.
No,
I don't
never.
play. I don't play a ton of tag these days.
Less than you used
but
to.
If someone calls me out, you know, I'm not going to back down from any competition.
Except for him.
All right, I'm not playing tag anymore. I apologize.
I
got
love
sidetracked there.
Lola's 51-yard field goal attempt. I thought that was, of all the things I saw that game, and there were some amazing things, and it wasn't the best thing I saw that night, but it was memorable. The kid kicked a 51-yarder that was good from 60.
Oh, it had distance.
Yeah. I thought that was fun.
And then he hit the very tip of the goal post
Yeah.
on another one.
The
Just a
stands
tip.
weren't full either. Yeah, it was. The stands weren't full. I was kind of surprised by that. Maybe I shouldn't be.
You know, there's probably a lot going out in Southern California on the end of summer. I imagine there's a couple beer blasts all over the place. I don't know why I think that, but
I don't know why you think that either.
I just think that there is, but you know.
I'll be happy to tell Bill in person, as will all of us, that we were proud of him. And I'm certainly proud
Absolutely.
of DeMatha, and on ESPN showing up for the WCAC. And it's not where he starts, where he finish, and the WCAC will only get stronger as the season goes on. So a good opening frame for the WCAC. On the other nationally televised game as well.
Bang.
First Amendment Sports.
was.
It was nationally televised. St. John's hosted, of course, internationally televised, really, for being honest.
Broadcasted.
Internationally broadcast. St. John's, 2 p.m. this past Saturday, took on a team from Florida in the Southridge Spartans that was ill prepared to handle a couple of things. And those couple things are things that you can't not handle. Defensive line of St. John's, I'll start there and you guys take it from there. But the defensive line for St. John's is worth the price of admission. Maybe I've just come around as like Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and some of the great Redskins defensive lines that really made me appreciate it when it's worthy of appreciation. St. John's defensive line is worthy of appreciation. It's amazing. And Jalen Willis, who's 6'3", and a gifted athlete and a gifted passer, you could tell he was big enough to see over the defensive line, and he was doing that initially. But it didn't take long until all he saw was Trey Williams and MJ Sherman and Taizé.
That stat became unimportant very quickly.
The height. He did not have the height. By the second and a half quarter, he was pretty much only seeing 2 feet in front of him, and they were running on him. St. John's was winning with 4 versus 5. St. John's was winning with stunts when they were rushing 4. When they rushed the 5th guy, there was nobody to block that 5th guy because they were already double teaming somebody, and they were just basically running some guy by, and it ended up being I think Christian Taylor a couple times ran free. MJ Sherman
Isaiah
ran
Jordan,
free.
who looked
Isaiah
like
Jordan.
MJ Sherman on a couple of plays. But hey, MJ Sherman, Greg Hudgens, Taizé Johnson, Trey Williams, they showed up to play week 1. They're on a mission. You know, it's early in the season. But I'm going to tell you, poor Jalen Willis, you know, he played very tough. I'm not sure what hotel they stayed at, but I'm telling you that ice machine was whining for the endurance of the rest of the evening. That guy took some shots. That front 4 dominated. They've talked about doing it. And you got 3 seniors. And MJ Sherman getting cleared to play on a Thursday. He is the team leader. He is the heart and soul. And with his ACL last year, he was that same guy. He made every practice. You know, he is all in. And those guys definitely responded to seeing him back on the football field again.
Oh, yeah.
And they all took it up a notch. When the guys that are all around you have, you know, more stars than there are in the sky, you better play on a certain level or else you're going to get called out on film day. And that was not the case. As a unit, they were fantastic.
You know, it's an easy segue and a name that we're going to be saying an awful lot as the season goes on. Another guy who logged some time at defensive line, which doesn't seem fair, Antoine Littleton. Number 7 in the program, number 1 in your hearts. The guy is the kid, the best smile on the field, first of all. You called him a dancing bear, one of the most agile, athletic guys. Not just forget about his size, he's just an athlete. We saw what he could do running the ball. We saw what he could do catching the ball.
He's a genetic freak.
When he came in, I want to say he came in for Trey Williams or Taizé Johnson. One of those two came running off the field, and I was like, okay, finally they're giving some of these guys a break. And Antoine Littleton, number 7, goes onto the field, and he makes a play, like that exact play.
He almost took a handoff on defense.
He almost took a handoff. He got to the backfield in time to cause the fumble, and St. John's got the turnover. He's impressive.
Oh my God! So I'm coming down. I'm coming up 95 from Disney with my family. I've got you guys plugged in. I'm listening to you, and that we had to pull over at one point, and it just so happened to be on that touchdown run he had, and I saw the size of this kid after hearing you guys talking about it, but actually seeing it.
The long run,
the
where he
long
ran
run,
over Rashad Napper.
Yes.
Tip of the head.
But then. Going back and watching him more, and then hearing you guys talk about he played defensive line, he plays H-back, he plays running back. The stats that he had, I mean, this guy had an amazing impact on this football game.
I think he racked make your own omelets at pregame
He
breakfast.
did.
It was incredible.
With
He
his
sang
hands,
the anthem.
with his hands,
He lined the field.
I want to see him hold for extra points.
Well, he's already on the special teams.
I know.
He's
They
blocking.
They say he's got the best hands in the team. He showed that a little bit. That ball wasn't poorly thrown, but he had to reach back a tad bit. And just the way those paws just take that ball in, and he turns upfield with a little shimmy, and then it's over at that
he's a
point.
force. He's a
Get
force
out
anytime
of
he's
the
in the
way.
Only time to stop him is to keep him from getting
before
started.
he gets started.
And I think it's an interesting scheme with that Coach Ward, Coach Kaz, and the offensive staff do, because with a guy his size, an impediment, especially on the short side of the field. A couple times he caught the ball, or he was coming to the short side on the wide hash. You don't want to have too many. First of all, you don't need too many blockers out there, but you don't want to have too many blockers out there. You don't want to have a lot of traffic. Only guys you want in front of him are the other team's guys, and he's going to knock them down. I don't want him having to run around a lot because he doesn't need it. It was amazing. First of all, he made a couple guys miss. How do you miss a guy that big? I don't know, but he made him miss.
Well, because he's got great feet and great athleticism. You know, we just talked about the size. It's not a novelty. He has got the athleticism to play the position.
Yeah.
Yep.
And teams that are coming to town, and I'm just telling Mark Gibbs, keep the baseball facility locked, because the only way to get that guy down is with a baseball bat. I believe. You know, in the open field, I don't know what you do. I think you, like I said, old school street football. You got to jump on them and hope for the troops to come and save you.
Oh yeah, first guy's got no chance. Second guy's got a half a chance.
Yes.
I'll be interested to see. Someone's going to have to come up with an idea. You know, Trivers or Stefanelli, Bill, Keita. Someone's going to have an idea, and you might have to dedicate a guy just because you got to stay close to him.
to a dedicated guy to do what?
To be the first guy there. I'm not talking about a dedicated guy to shut him down, because you can't do it. I'm talking about having a guy there close enough to be the first guy, because if you don't have anyone within 5 yards and he gets the ball, it's over.
It's not very sneaky. It's not very sneaky to have a spy on a 6'3", 285
That's what I'm saying.
man.
I might spy. I might have to
Coach,
spy.
he's right there. I got all eyes on
The
him.
Jimmy Patsos defense on Steph Curry. You know, just have everyone guard this guy, and then if they beat you everywhere else, fine.
Hey, he wasn't the only guy getting it
I know,
done.
I know.
Listen, but there's guys out there listening
He
to
had a
us.
hell of a game. He had a hell of a game.
And listen, that was a great thing for him to do. You know, coming out his first game junior year, but
Jamar
Curtis, he was just he was incredible. You know what? I'm going to call him the truth, because my dad's been talking about him for a year, and after this Saturday, what I realized is he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
And he also told the truth about Baby Bus.
There's no doubt, and he's coached him since 7th grade, and that's a little bit different. And Colby McDonald, let's not forget about him. There's not one top guy. They're going to rotate having great weeks. Colby McDonald had 2 or 3 just outrageous jaw-dropping runs that you forget about, because he didn't get a ton of play because they were rotating. But the first play from scrimmage and the first play in the second half, you watch that guy's feet, you watch him cut and move, and you realize there's a reason why the Big Ten and the SEC have all put their hand up and said that we'd like to enter. He is.
He
absolutely is.
When you see him in person, the thing about Colby McDonald that struck me, because Jamar Curtis is tiny and electric and tough. I mean, he doesn't play small, but he's a small body. Antoine is Antoine. Colby is in between there, which is a hell of a large range there. But he's like an upright guy in his the way that he carries himself on the field. He's got a lot of body. He's long, and he's tough.
Dickerson type.
I mean, I hate to say that word, but yeah, that's kind of where I was going. I think
he doesn't
the kind
run
of guy,
so straight up, but his body type.
Yeah.
Yep. I think he's the kind of guy that we all of a sudden look up one day and see like he's one of the top 5 rushers in college football.
Yeah.
Because
without a doubt.
And I think he's going to sneak up on people because everyone's talking about Jamar and Antoine.
What I find intriguing, and not just intriguing, what I like about watching St. John's right now is that they're competing with each other too. I mean, these guys want to outdo each other. They want to show what they can do. It's almost like, I can do that better.
Yeah.
That is making this team right now, and it's a jovial, good competition. You know what I'm saying? But they have the talent and they have the confidence right now, and you're seeing it. We saw it, we heard about it. Now you're seeing it on the football field. We haven't even mentioned Rakim's name yet.
Right, that first drive, that second play of offense, Sol J to Rakim.
It's just unbelievable how much there is there.
They're so in sync, and that combination is so lethal. They just both came off the field. I mean, Rakim might have had a little shimmy in that end zone. I'm not certain. I don't think you'll ever see Sol J celebrate at any level. He's just the most even-keeled guy. He just, he's like, this is what I do. I throw touchdowns, and then I walk off the field and congratulate the O-lineman. Not to mention this, T, my favorite part of the day, as we're breaking down everything. Up top at St. John's, we're sitting there talking with people. We're sitting doing everything we're supposed to be doing. The men of St. John's are breaking down the tent above us. I look around the corner, and who's carrying it out, helping the men of St. John's? Soldier Baeva. He goes out there and does his thing on the field. Mr. Humble. The team loves him. The guy has just no ego whatsoever. But what a good man. A man of St. John's. And after being here for a year, I think he feels that comfortable. He feels like a man of St. John's now. And not that he didn't last year, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Both his feet are on the ground, firmly entrenched in Northwest Washington, D.C. He's beloved, and he's out there helping, grown men on the breakdown. it's old school. It's a throwback. You don't see it a lot, and it just was, to me, I just went over there. I was like, hey, man, that's big time. I think that's big time. You're my guy. That's my son sitting here watching.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old is
grounded.
watching.
He's rounded.
And I can,
yes.
what a coaching point, teaching point,
Yeah.
and a great thing for a dad to be able to say to his son, look, I'm not just talking about that stuff. Look, he's doing it.
Yeah.
And that was big. That was huge.
Yeah.
And you guys know how I feel about the kids, so I got to take a deep breath here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is so important to me, and it's all across the WCAC. We are a class conference,
Yep.
and I think in all these national matchups, that's going to come across. You're going to notice that.
Speaking of offensive line, I want to make sure I know Kyrie Mason stood out to me a lot. I don't think he had any problems with his assignments this week, and that's not a knock on Southbridge. He looks the part. It very much looks the part of a starting left tackle. They had a number of, they have a number, 5 actually, starting amazing offensive linemen. I understand. Kyrie was impressive to me out of the gate.
And I love that, but when they flipped it around, and before we could watch the film, and we were just sitting there to the naked eye, Damon Arder.
Yeah.
And this guy, he has made himself into the player that he is. He's the most hardworking, another humble, and fantastic kid. He was dominant.
Yeah.
If you watch, when I watched the game a little bit on Monday, a little bit this morning, he stuck out to me on tape. You didn't get, I know you watched all that, but I'm not sure if you're sitting there looking at it from Pat Ward's eye. I wasn't either, but I was given a little hint. Take a peek at. And big 6'6". He was nasty. He has the chance. He has the chance to be a superstar player at the next level, and with his work ethic, who knows what could happen.
I think the wide receiving core for St. John's, to be honest, I think they could have easily done more if they wanted to. They got some early work in with Rakim.
13 passes all day long.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough.
Yeah, so
not tough, but to produce.
Well, after
Yeah.
a while, you don't want to pour it on like some people who throw a flea flicker when they're already up 31.
That's a
7.
triple reverse free
Which
flicker.
Bosco did to DeMatha in the second half, which I
Ooh.
thought was
Okay.
That crept in the pantyhose a little
yeah,
bit, huh?
Yeah. I was kind of like, really, guys, really. But no, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what you're not going to toss it around all day in a game like that.
Plus, no need to expose Sol J. I mean, when he was on the move a couple times, I thought he did a good job of getting rid of the ball to prevent a loss of yardage. They kept his jersey pretty clean. And otherwise on defense, I'm always a Mordecai McDaniel guy. Just I love him. I love watching him play. I love watching him. He started the game at corner. I think he was lined up on Roscoe Parrish and Jaheim Jerry a lot. At the line of scrimmage, right. Covered up pretty closely. And then as they were kind of transitioning guys in to get some extra reps in for the younger guys, Mordecai dropped back and played safety, which is where I love him.
That's good, but that depth is going to be huge
amazing
for St. John's going forward. I mean, to have a game where you can put that, put a lot of those guys in and get that game time and that game experience, it's going to be huge for them down the road. You never know where injuries are going to come in play, or heat somewhere when they're playing someplace they're not used to, or whatever.
It's a great point by both of you. I believe this is the deepest St. John's team we've seen in a while. Just with, it's year 4 of the evolution of Coach Kaz being here. But before I forget, I was also Isaiah Jordan and Christian Taylor. Were they were werewolves.
Yeah.
The speed, the tenacity.
Christian Taylor was everywhere.
He was everywhere. He has definitely gained a step since his junior year. I'm sure it has to do with the performance training and everything else that he puts into it. But there's a couple times I thought it was MJ Sherman coming off the edge. It was Isaiah Jordan. No knock on anyone. Just from off the edge, Isaiah looked fantastic. And Christian Taylor, he got his hands on the ball. Xavier Terry in his first real start had 2 picks.
Yep.
It was a huge day for Coach Rashad Gillespie, for Coach Pat Ward, and Coach Kaz. I think the one thing I want to hammer away is it was a clean game. I think there was 2 penalties on St. John's in the first half. One was on special teams. No turnovers. The ball was on the ground one time. Colby got it punched out a little bit, but the big guy jumped on there and saved the day. So one of those things that you look at and you see the focus of a team that comes out week 1 playing against a team with tremendous team speed. Didn't make any mistakes, man. They played a clean, crisp first half, as good as I've seen in a long time on that team.
Let me ask you, who's on offense, aside from the quarterback, who's taking Ron's role? It's kind of like
the 3 running backs.
It's a 3-headed, but there's no one. I mean, he was kind of I don't know. I thought
he could play the slot. He caught the ball out of the backfield, but this is what all 3 of these guys catch the ball out of the backfield incredibly well. They all
Also,
they're all the
somewhat
hammer,
leadership as
They're all
well.
the hammer, not the nail.
Yeah.
Also, and they all have got tremendous speed and quickness for their body types. You know, I think the roles are different now. It's a three-way go at it, Ken.
But I'm not even talking about just on, as far as X's and O's. I mean, I thought he also had he left a little bit of a mark with regard to his leadership as well on the field.
Well, when you have a senior quarterback who's a man of few words that leads by example, and we'll see how that goes. You got Rakim Jarrett on the offense, MJ Sherman and Tyzay Johnson on the defense seem to be the guys that have taken a leadership role.
Okay.
And then you got a bunch of that offensive line is a bunch of quiet, very nice, soft-spoken, just maniacs. You know what I mean? When the light switch goes on, it's over. They played as a unit so well, that front five. I told Coach Ward that at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I'm not telling you the last time I talked about him, but I was very proud of that as a friend. You love to see your guy succeed, and a guy that spent his whole life devoted to this. That was a great first day, and they all keep saying that it's one game. It doesn't matter this schedule. True, but on Saturday nights you have a couple hours to celebrate. When you wake up Sunday morning, that starts the new week. Yep. And I think you got to celebrate.
Yep.
You got to celebrate that night. You got to take a look back at the hard work.
Oh, we know you think
put
that.
in all week. And well, thank you for understanding. But it's important. I also celebrate birthdays.
But you were also getting up the next day to
Flag Day.
I
like all
prepared
kinds
for
of
Deerfield.
stuff.
Equinox.
Yeah, very true. Although I will tell you, I did watch film on Deerfield the next day. So don't act like work hard, play hard.
Yeah,
fellas.
absolutely. Got to pay to play.
Is that our motto here?
Well, yeah.
It's unwritten. I forget that all the time. My bad.
Amongst many unwritten mottos.
So what is next?
We will be at St. John's, 2 p.m. Kickoff. We'll kick off things on the broadcast at 1:30. Once again, we'll be joined by a very special guest, which we will announce closer to the game. Surprise mystery.
Why did you guys just make those weird motorbike noises? Is it
roll.
going to be a motorcycle guy?
Yeah, it's going to be a motorcycle guy.
Pastrana? What do we got?
A Motor.
The suspense.
Evil Knievel? What do we got?
It could possibly be Evil Knievel or the Fonz. I'm not sure.
There's going to be over 30 Power 5 scholarships on the field on Saturday. How about that for some talent in Week 2 on August 31st?
Yeah,
in the
I still
nation's
can't believe it's
capital.
August and
I know it.
We're going to have 2 games in before we get to September.
That's crazy.
In programming notes, the Bishop McNamara Riverdale Baptist game has been moved to Riverdale Baptist. We will not be broadcasting from Riverdale Baptist.
Boo.
We will get you the updates for Coach Malloy's and our beloved Mustangs as they try to prepare themselves for the nation's hardest in-conference schedule.
Yeah, right.
And listen,
Gonzaga, good counsel.
everyone's
McNamara,
in
they get
action.
going.
Yeah,
Metro Conference gets going. We're going to be doing the big game. The Matha gets to try to right the ship against Imhotep Charter up in Pennsylvania, one of the top teams up there in Pennsylvania. So next week, this time, we're going to have 3 times as much to talk about.
3. Gonzaga's playing American Heritage. They're a top 100 team from Florida. Hey, listen.
3 times as much with all the people
no
they're
doubt.
playing.
DC's taking on some Miami and teams from the Florida area, and I think so far it looks like they're up a little bit in the win column. Good Counsel is welcoming Charlotte Catholic, another team in the top 100 program. I think they're in the top 80, to tell you the truth. McNamara taking on Eastern. We hope that game goes off because Eastern gave Carroll a big victory last week by not showing up, which is very interesting. O'Connell at Archbishop Curley, Ireton at Manassas Park, Paul VI versus St. Stephen St. Agnes, Carroll at Bullis. It intrigues me. I can't wait to see. It's a good mark, good measure for Carroll. Yeah, this is a different Carroll ball club this year, and we're going to find out about that. Reichen is idle. So
Landon's
the action we got going.
They're in the top 20 for sure. They're the top 10, I believe.
Who
in the Washington Post?
Landon.
Yeah, Landon.
What?
Oh no, you were talking Bullis. I was just thinking of the 2 schools. But still, good football. No, you're right.
We get all freaked out when the IAC comes up. We like those guys.
Good football. It's going to be a good test for Carroll, I think.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Although I do have a bone to pick with the Washington Post, and I think this is the right place. I think I'm in the right place. Am I in the right place?
You live here, dude. I don't know if you're in the right place.
House.
Okay, I might be in the right place. Listen, I got nothing against the Georgetown Preps and the Landons and the H.T. Woodsons and all these schools that are playing some big games and awesome games. But they did an article in the Washington Post yesterday, T, where they listed the best games on a weekly basis. If you don't get it,
I don't get it.
You don't get it. But they have.
They don't do box scores, so I don't get it either.
I don't understand. Like, I just picked 1 week, for example. And so every week they give you like the game to watch, and then they give you like a backup game. And there's some WCAC games that make a lot of sense. Like, St. John's Modern Day. I think Gonzaga, American Heritage was in there. There was a DeMatha game, but I wish I could tell you. All I know is the week that. For example, the week that Gonzaga hosts DeMatha in the rematch of the championship, it's not even listed. And they do give St. John's love, and they give some of these other schools love. But how is that not?
Is selling papers. They need to get a wide audience. They need to appease a lot of people.
A broad stroke with that paintbrush. Yes.
Remember that when you go to the newspaper.
Are you going to get it now?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to get it.
Well, then you still don't get it. You know what though? You just don't get it. They messed up.
I don't get why they don't.
No,
I don't
I mean.
get why they don't get it with high school sports anymore.
don't.
But you know what I do get? That we're going to try and fill a bit of a void on a Tuesday night.
That's really the takeaway.
That's why we're here.
Is that
We're here to give you the real stuff. Yeah.
I would love. We have a long ways to go still at First Amendment Sports in this basement office that we have to get all the way there. But we're on our way to filling that role, and I think that. In time, as we get develop some relationships and partnerships with a few folks, we can start to do even a box score
Hit us up if you
type
want to
job.
partner up, man.
I like your optimism.
I think we can do that. I mean, I think it's. Hey, listen, you're looking at the three guys who are doing everything you know about First Amendment Sports High School. That's us. So all these ideas we have.
Maddie Seal.
I'm sorry, and Maddie Seal, and Kevin and Darren McClinton, and Luke David and Victor Maddox. It's not just us, but when it comes to producing the kind of content that we're talking about doing, that's going to fall on us. But I would like to try, and that's it's going to take some lifting. But I think you have to state a goal. And then try to go out and do it. You know what I mean?
Why do I feel like this was said in your shower at 6:45 this morning?
First of all, it doesn't. 6:45. Unless I'm playing golf, I'm not waking up at 6:45.
Hey, one other thing I wanted to mention. I did read an article. Can't remember where it was, but it was Coach Kaz was quoted because he was being asked about the tough schedule that they have, probably the toughest schedule in the country without a doubt. And they
Of
said,
all time,
he's playing. How many of the top 10?
6.
6 of the top 10.
8 of the top 25.
Somebody said, Coach, would you kind of jokingly ask, would you play like all 10 of the top 10? And he said, no, because I don't want to miss playing in the WCAC.
Of course.
But I'll play 6 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that, to me, just for what we do, that was a perfect answer. A perfect answer from a guy who's leading a team that's got a great opportunity ahead of them, who's saying that WCAC is pretty special, and I don't ever want to lose that. That was a great thing to hear.
Well, he said to me, without sounding arrogant, he just said, last year we focused on trying to win a national championship. That was our biggest mistake. And he admitted it. And that's been said. That's been verbalized all across. This year, the focus for them is to get better playing these 6 top 10s and the 2, but forget about some of them are WCAC schools. Obviously, 2 of the top 10s, Gonzaga and DeMatha, and then Good Counsel was in the top 25. And he said, this year's focus, it's a totally different focus. It's the WCAC. If you take care of the WCAC, the nation will take care of itself, and all the stuff will take.
Look, the national championship and all that stuff is great.
Yeah,
it would be awesome.
They got ahead of themselves.
We said it was one of our wish lists to have, to be able to cover one of these things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Coach Kaz also being the only coach, at least in the conference with those 5, that isn't an alum, right?
Travers went to Sherwood.
Well, true. Yeah. I'm sorry, local.
Yeah, but he's a local. He understands
local.
Right.
Now he's understanding what the WCAC means. That in and of itself is cool too.
Yep.
And winning the WCAC is quite the feat.
Yep.
So, and it's a worthy goal.
That's right.
And our worthy goal, before we get to even some of the more worthier goals I've already showered about, is to broadcast a great game on Saturday, to do St. John's and Deerfield Beach right, and get one more week into this season with a strong broadcast, and then we'll be taking a little bit of a break before we hit the WCAC schedule pretty hard, I believe, guys.
Yeah.
So join us this Saturday on this YouTube channel. If you see that logo on YouTube, please hit it. Get a free subscription. Ring the bell, and you'll get notifications on any time we go live for broadcasts or shows.
But when you say break, you just mean on Saturdays for games. We're still going to be here every Tuesday night talking.
We're gonna be here every Tuesday
the
night.
weekend's action.
I'm told that I'm gonna have to move to shake this whole Tuesday night thing. That's what, and I'm not moving.
I don't think you should move, but I do want to say one thing to our listeners. If you are at the game on Saturday or the back end of the season when we're covering 6 to 7 WCAC games in the last 7 weeks, in the stadium, check us out on your phone. We have the slow-mo instant replay. We've got stats. We've got all kinds of graphics that are interesting. If you're on one part of the stadium, you can't see the other. We've got multiple camera angles. Check us out at the stadium. You might even want to listen to some of us. Maybe not, but just for that reason itself. If I'm at the game and I can't see and we're like, what's the call? What's the call? Well, we're right here. Our replay system is on point as of right now.
Yep.
We're loading up on everything we need to do. We're getting better and better. But our replay situation is on point. And if you want to take a different perspective and a different view of the game, check us out at the stadium as well. It's not going to hurt.
It's not going to hurt. We would love to have you on board. Until Saturday afternoon, and on behalf of First Amendment Sports, he's Tim Strachan.
Appreciate it, fellas. Sorry I wasn't there, and I'm looking forward to this Saturday.
Man, Disney World's awesome.
Disney World was fun.
We're gonna have that's a whole different show.
Really happy for my kids.
We'll
and
get into that.
Thank you to my parents for hanging in there for the whole thing. It was
Yeah.
great.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my wife. It was awesome. Lukey, the 7-month-old,
Yeah.
he was the star of the show. He was a rock star. He was a rock star in the car. He was a rock star down at Disney.
That's
Great
the most important thing. Rockstar in the car
Oh,
trumps
man.
all.
He slept like 80% of the time on a
that's amazing.
13-hour drive down, a 13-hour drive back.
That's a Disney miracle.
It was.
Well, I'm going to...
He's Kevin Ricka.
Yes, I am, and I'm also going to sit out of the Disney show. I'm very happy that you had a great experience and you did as well.
We conquered it. It was great.
But listen,
I survived.
I'm of a different opinion on this matter, and I've been fighting that battle for a few years. But more importantly, we got ball again this weekend. We got everyone in action that you guys all want to talk about and hear about.
Can't wait.
Hey, until next week, everyone, be a good sport.
That'll do it. Appreciate you guys giving us your time tonight. Thank you so much from all three of us. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Still laugh. Thanks, guys.
AGH, thanks for joining, man.
Hey, now.
Yeah, we're going to be
Well-
back on in... 5?
Yeah, I just got to
We have
whiz on the
just
fence
a
real
small
quick.
break, and then we'll be right back, AGH.